Today is the second Sunday of Lent Cycle C. In the first reading, God chose Abraham, a man of faith, to be the father of a great nation which he is yet to establish. One of the promises God makes to Abraham is that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars. The fact that Abraham and his wife were very old at the time of the covenant, and that God's promise of numerous descendants seemed far off, since they did not even have a child of their own. They could not be patient. They did not believe all things are possible with God. So they decided to have a child, that Abraham should have a child with Hagar, his servant, in order to put into God's action the promise of many descendants. He did not trust God, who promised them a child in their old age. We too have to, not like Abraham, trust God. Sometimes his promises may seem far stretched or distant, or sometimes, as Abraham thought, impossible for them to have a child in his old age. But remember, God is faithful to his promises. He did have many descendants. We have to just be patient with God and have faith. In his letter to the Philippians, Paul warns us that hedonism, the belief that physical pleasure is the chief goal of life, separates us from those who believe in the cross of Christ. St. Paul says, their God is their bellies, and they glory in their shame. Hedonistic behavior is egoistic or selfish, while the cross is a symbol of sacrificial love. Our culture glories in its shame. People are exploited by TV shows, divorce court and the likes. And there was an old one, I don't know if some of you might remember, Jerry Springer. They publicize what I would say dirty laundry, things that people should be ashamed of or feel disgraced to discuss on television. However, for a weekend in an expensive hotel in the city and money for shopping, they are willing to air all of their dirty laundry. For example, a woman takes 3 men to a TV show to find out which one is the real father via DNA testing. What does it say about her that she don't know which of the 3 men is her baby's father? Why would anyone want to have the sordid details of their roast on national television? For a few minutes of fame, men and women lose their sense of shame. Planned Parenthood proudly proclaims that they have been more than 65 million abortions, the killing of innocent children, since abortion has become legal in the United States. Do you know that 65% of Planned Parenthood abortion clinics are in predominantly black, what we say called black neighborhoods? The group that is rallying to get out more black votes is the same ones who have no objection to the killing of them at birth. During the Trump era, the media expressed outrage when the child was separated from his or her parents at the border, but is silent when abortionists regularly crush the skulls of partially born babies during late-term abortions. The Transfiguration takes place just after Jesus told his disciples that he was going to Jerusalem, where he will suffer and die and will be resurrected on the third day. God wanted to strengthen the faith of the disciples as he knew his death would test them. The Transfiguration is a foretaste of the resurrection and an opportunity to see the glory of God. It gave the disciples hope when they most needed it and helped them to believe in the resurrection. The Jews called the scriptures the law and the prophets, and not the Old Testament. The appearance of Moses and Elijah represent the law and the prophets. Moses the law, Elijah the prophets. Therefore, the forms of the law appears in the law and prophets symbolically through Moses and Elijah signal that Jesus, who stands between them, is the fulfillment of the prophet, law and the prophets, and the beginning of the Messianic age. God led the people of Israel in the desert by a cloud during the day and a column of fire by night. The cloud was called the Shekinah, the glory of God. Mary became pregnant when she was overshadowed by the power of the Most High. Today, the Shekinah, the cloud, cast its shadow over the disciples and enveloped them. It is God the Father who said to them, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." Do we listen to him? Do we follow his teachings? We may be about to enter a period of trial and testing of our faith. We live in a culture that is constantly trying to redefine what is moral and immoral according to human precepts, while ignoring the teachings of the main branches of the three monotheistic religions, the Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians. Persecution for our religious belief is a real possibility, especially the idea of one world government where Christianity may be a minority. But we need to know that the gates of hell will not prevail against the church. We have to be confident that with God, all things are possible, and nothing should frighten us, even the threat of death. Because since we share in Jesus' resurrection, as St. Paul says, death has lost its sting.